It's exactly 9:15. Welcome to the program, the second half of the show, and very especially to our Polokwane listeners on One Nation FM. Next, we're going to be talking to the Chairperson of Public Interest South Africa, and that, of course, is Tebogo Khaas. And we're going to be looking at a very important issue, and that is, why is whistleblowing so important in South Africa? We do know that Justice Minister Ronald Lamola has made recommendations for whistleblower protection, which is now open for public comment. Tebogo Khaas, very good morning to you. Welcome to the program. Can you not hear me? Okay, we're going to have to try and reconnect. I do apologize for that. When we were testing earlier on, we could hear him and he could hear me. So let's take a short ad break and come back. Or whilst we're waiting for Tebogo Khaas, I have a very important read that I would like to share with you. It's important and it's very, very sad indeed. The ANC mourns the passing of Marhuma Khadija Kachalia. The African National Congress dips its revolutionary banner in honor of Mama Marhuma Khadija Kachalia, a stalwart of justice, equality, and freedom. The heroic and selfless contribution by Mama Kachalia and her family to the liberation struggle will remain indelible in the minds of all freedom-loving South Africans. Her exemplary life of humility and selflessness was a pillar of strength and a shining torch for millions of South Africans who aspired to the vision of a better life for all. As a true patriot, her contribution was never aimed at seeking personal glory or fame. She was motivated by a genuine and deep desire to build for our people a future that is qualitatively better than our ugly past. The people of our country will treasure her memory as one of the heroines of our freedom struggle, whose real contribution is yet to be fully acknowledged and documented. The ANC sends its heartfelt condolences to her family, friends, comrades, and the broader democratic movement. We wish them strength and fortitude during this difficult time. We hope that the family will find comfort in the knowledge that the entire nation shares in their grief. May the soul of Mama Marhuma Khadija Kachalia find lasting peace. Amin summa amin. It is 18 after 9, and I think we do have Tebogo Khaas back online. Let's see if we can proceed with this interview. A very good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, and thank you for having me, Julie.
Always nice talking with you. Thank you indeed for your time. Now, we do believe that Justice Minister Ronald Lamola has made recommendations for whistleblower protection, which is now open for public comment. Your thoughts and how important is the issue around protection of whistleblowers?
Yeah, this is an important milestone, and we believe that a lot should and can come out of this process, which has been long overdue. And to the extent that everything is on the table insofar as the proposals are concerned, when I say everything is on the table, government is open to getting input from the public, and here I'm talking civil society and ordinary citizens and corporates, to ensure that it can improve on the current protected disclosure framework, as well as the witness protection regime as well, which we know that is under the aegis of the National Prosecution Authority. So we welcome the opportunity to do that, and we will indeed be making submissions in this regard.
Why is it that employers, in your opinion, of course, don't understand the risks attached to whistleblowing? Because it's not only the whistleblower, their families invariably are also targeted and harassed.
You know, it's a very interesting, if I may say so, anomaly, because you would have thought that employers would take an interest in ensuring that the livelihoods and lives of whistleblowers and those and their families or close ones are actually safeguarded and in advance. But in fact, instead, we see employers, especially both in the public and private sector, somehow ostracizing whistleblowers, and yet on the other hand, encouraging whistleblowing. So you ask yourself, what is it that employers, be it in the public sector and private sector actually expect or want of their employees. But also, more importantly, from our vantage, the whistleblowing is not only restricted or shouldn't be only be circumscribed to to employer-employee relationship, because even some whistleblowing does take place by either suppliers to corporates in both the public and private sector. And please, if you pardon the background noise, I don't control the environment. I wish I
Okay.
could tell them to shush, but I
I
can't.
can see you're quite irritated by it, but continue. I can hear you clearly.
Okay. So, because we believe that, for example, if you're an SME or an entrepreneur and you notice uh, uh, wrongdoing either with your client, be they in the government or big corporate, chances are you are going to be curtailed in what you can do because there's no protection under the current regime of the whistleblowing regime or protected disclosure regime as a supplier to a company or to a department in government. So we would encourage or make submissions to that effect to ensure that it actually widens the definitions of whistleblowing or whistleblower widens to also include to cover those who might be SMEs. Because if you're in a small business, you raise a flag or you blow the whistle, chances are that will be the last time you get to do any business with that entity. So we would like to see that happen as well. So, but to the employee side, we also find that the private sector actually speaks with forked tongues because on the one hand, they encourage whistleblowing, but when those people are ostracized, let's say in the public sector, we don't see private sector absorbing or offering opportunities for employment for those individuals who may be maligned by the public sector.
You actually preempted my next question. That is exactly it. Why is it that the private sector are reluctant to take on those people? Because surely, if you have people like that with good ethics, sound ethics, and morality, your interests are going to be safeguarded. Why is it that the private sector just seem to shy away from them?
It's counterintuitive, Julie, and you're quite right because one would expect naturally for the public sector to actually be rushing to employ such people with good, upright, ethical, conduct. But instead, we see them not actually even supporting them. So it's a question, and even in this regard, we expect the private sector to actually even make sure that they can also make contributions to helping shore up any fund that could be established, or if need be, set up a private sector driven fund if there's the cost of the trust deficits that may exist between private sector and government, to ensure that the whistleblowers are taken care of. Because whistleblowing affects not only the whistleblower themselves, it also affects their families, their friends, and others who actually invested in their lives. So we cannot expect that the private sector can play an uninterested role, if I may say so, in this whole whistleblowing regime. We've seen examples of many examples of even whistleblowers having to run away from this country to make sure that they actually can get to a safe place, which is quite shocking.
I'm going to put you back to the wall now and ask you a question. You may decline to answer if you so wish to do so. Would you say Andre de Ruyter was a whistleblower and that's why I had to leave the country?
Under the radar it's a very complicated situation. If I look at the under the radar case, I might also liken it to who's that? Busasa? Not Leonard Liot. Who's the Busasa guy? The chief operating officer went to the Zondo Commission and spilled the beans.
Yes, I know. His name doesn't come to mind, but anyway.
Yes, many people see him as not a whistleblower, or some people see him as not a whistleblower, while some see him as a whistleblower. Some people say he made those disclosures because he wanted to save his own skin and to take down his former partners with. He thought, I won't be going down alone. But to the extent that he made revelations that would otherwise not have been public, he should be, I argue that he should be treated as a whistleblower. The same, now going back to the under-the-radar. Under-the-radar made disclosures in the eyes of many people. It is felt that he was making those disclosures to try and cover up the fact that he has failed as CEO of Eskom, which is arguably true. But to the extent that he made those disclosures, most of which is nothing new, but he may have provided more detail and make sure that he also shines a light more and make sure that this thing remains the public domain. He should be regarded as a whistleblower. The same would go to Babita Deokaram, whom we all know that the Gauteng provincial government, at some stage, and probably even still now, they don't regard her as a whistleblower. But we know that she was a whistleblower. She may not have followed to the letter the provisions of the Protected Disclosure Act when she made such disclosure. But sometimes you get caught in the flow of things that you don't even have time to sit back and note what would be the proper things to follow or procedures to follow. And even if you were, you'd find that it's very difficult, limited in terms of how you can make those protected disclosures in environments such as where she found herself, where most of her bosses were also implicated in the wrongdoing. So yes, going back to your answer, I would treat under-the-radar as a qualified whistleblower.
Okay, so obviously legislative changes need to be made to address this elephant in the room, so to speak, because if we do protect whistleblowers, we are going to uncover lots of corruption, both in the state and in the private sector. And South Africa, we need to revive, we need huge revival. And by encouraging the protection of whistleblowers, we can protect our businesses, we can protect our institutions, we can recoup stolen monies. We can start creating employment for our youth, and so on and so forth. And the list goes on. Your thoughts? What should that legislation look like?
Yeah, I'll start first with what you just said. It's an important point. Recouping monies lost to the fiscus. As we've seen happen with Ms. Mutopi at Eskom, where through her whistleblowing on Trillion and McKinsey and others, Eskom was able to recoup hundreds of millions, if not a couple of billions, from McKinsey. And now they're also pursuing Trillion and others who are involved. It is important to make sure that we encourage whistleblowers, because when they are able to do that, then the loss to the fiscus or loss to the state coffers can be mitigated. But the question is, what then do we do to whistleblowers who have helped reclaim monies lost to the state? We should incentivize that.
Absolutely.
Our argument is that we should follow in the footsteps of other jurisdictions. Let's take, for example, the Department of Justice in the US, whose Security Exchange Control does reward whistleblowers with a certain percentage of what they've recovered. In fact, last year or the year before, there was a recovery of 2.5 billion rands, that which the United States government would not have known but for the whistleblower who blew the whistle. Mm-hmm. And as a reward for that, the whistleblower got 10% of that, which translates to about $250 million. So with that type of dispensation, whistleblowers are able to say, look, this is risky, both financially and also to my own life and livelihood. But you're able to make calculated risk, because then if it also will encourage people to say, look, we will support you, we'll bring resources to bear, because you've got a potential claim or reward waiting for you. So we'll put resources, we'll protect you before this thing, as it unfolds, and making sure that at the end, when you get the reward, we'll also get to benefit on the upside. And that is something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tebogo, let me come in here. Obviously, if we're going to introduce a culture of protecting and incentivizing whistleblowers, we'll have really very clean run institutions, well professionally clean run institutions in state and in private sector. So it bodes well for us as South Africa as a whole, does it not?
No, absolutely. And it also encourages what we call ethical citizenship.
Absolutely.
Because what you're saying, do it not because you'll get something, what's in it for me, but you do it because it's the right thing to do. But to the extent that as you do that, you might invite harm or potential harm and loss of income or earnings on your part, a denial of eking out a livelihood, you should be compensated for that. So that is secondary. Compensation is more secondary to take care of the realities that you're going to be ostracized, your life is going to be in danger. You may need to up your security. You may need to attend to a psychologist and other medical intervention to deal with the PTSD or whatever it is that is affecting you mentally. So that is the essence of why the reward or the reward component is important so far as when the funds are recouped.
And protection, obviously. Okay, my final question, let's keep it short. You are chairperson of Public Interest South Africa. You truly bring issues that the public need to be aware of, state needs to be to action these issues that is weighing heavily on us as a public. How come none of the Guptas have been brought to book? A couple of months ago, we'd heard that they were found out. The authorities knew exactly where they were hiding out. Well, not hiding out, living the high life in UAE. How come they still have not been brought to book?
Yeah, it is quite disheartening because, and it also exposes the ineptness of the state. The incompetence is palpable to the extent that it doesn't inspire confidence in the criminal justice system. We've seen even recently the Estina, no, not the Estina, one of the I think it's the Nulana case, which was also struck off the roll in the Free State. It doesn't inspire confidence. And with regards to the Guptas, you can see that our government, they claim that they've done all that is expected of them by the UAE. But the UAE on the other hand says, no, look, you fell short, whether it's technicalities or not, but it doesn't inspire confidence. It doesn't show that we've got a government that is able to do that which is required. And that ineptness is also exposed because we've seen recently how the VIP protection, presidential protection unit was dealt with or exposed in Poland, where they didn't comply with certain requirements with regards to bringing arms in that country. So it might be that procedures were not properly followed by our National Prosecution Authority, or it might very well be that there's an intransigence within the UAE, which means politically there needs to be some pressure put to bear to the EU to comply and make sure that they bring to justice those who are accused of crime and are hiding in their spaces.
Tebogo, it's fascinating talking with you. We'll have many more conversations in the future, I promise. But we'll have to leave it there for now. I've got another guest standing by to talk to me, and that, of course, is Zama Nshona. He is the ATM spokesperson. So, Tebogo, you go well.
Thank you so much, Julie, and nice chatting with you again. Cheers.
Okay, we've just had a comment from Bongi Lumimini. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. She says, this is interesting. People need to be exposed to such powerful initiatives. I myself, okay, I can't get the other part of your question because I've got another information box opened up here on my screen. But we'll get to that in a minute. I will repeat your comments. Bongi, thank you indeed for becoming a part of the conversation. It is 9:34. We'll be talking with Zama Nshona in a minute or two.